hear any more women talk about how they want to be mermaids. T-shirts, right? I am a mermaid. Yo soy mermaid. I don't care what the Little Mermaid told us, because she was a liar and a hoarder.
Oh, look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?
That's a used toothbrush. Don't put it in your... There's a very specific way that women will search for something when we have a big bag. You take a designated search claw and you plunge it. Never breaking eye contact with your prey, your date. Your grandparents had to fight. They had no choice. Grandpa had to fight in World War II. Now they're old. And you look at them, and when you think old, what do you think? Cute. Oh my God, you guys, my Pip-Pop is so cute. Sometimes at Christmas, when Pip-Pop falls asleep, we like to decorate him with Christmas bows. Isn't that funny? Silly Pip-Pop. Pip-Pop's got 53 confirmed kills. You know I'm bringing home no more Mr. Nice Guy, I'm coming for you.
Hi, guys.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You have this comedy special, which is amazing. It's
Thank
out on
you.
Netflix now.
Yes.
How long did it take you to put this together? How long have you been working on this material?
I think that for this special, it took about 9 months. Maybe, that sounds weird because it's kind of like my baby. But about a year. So between like a year and 9 months, sussing it out, deciding what the message was, practicing it. I had it ready to go months before we shot it, but Netflix has such a full slate, so they give you your shoot date and then you kind of just back into it. So more time for something like this is always great because the second you record it, the next day, you come up with a better tag or a better joke. Okay. It's an imperfect thing. It's always...
You can kind of let go of it for a little while and then...
Never let go. I'm doing it now, and it's, I'm doing a show tonight, and it's all like a little bit different, and it starts to change, and the second you record, you're like, oh my God, I found the perfect way to say it. So, but yes, it is frozen in time, and I had it as good as I could get it.
Confirmed kills.
Yes.
Maybe, it's a very confident title.
I'm a very confident woman, and I know that a lot of people are gonna hate that, but I don't care.
Why?
Well, there's so many, that's a multi-pronged answer.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Well, just die already. What is that noise? What is the whole thing? It's so aggressive.
Just solve the crime so we can have our little talk here.
Or just keep it quiet. We know. It's New York. We get it. Which one am I answering? The confirmed kill.
Multi-pronged attack on being a confident woman.
Well, I just think, it never occurred to me, no matter at any point in my life, to not share an opinion. And I think when you think of women and opinions, the face that's been sort of given to like outspoken women is like, oh, she's annoying, or, a man hater or something. But I'm not doing anything differently than any other guy who does stand-up does, and I just chose to sort of carve out my own path. And I felt that, women we're expected to be so many things, but in comedy, we're expected to be filthy. And it's okay to be filthy, but at a certain point, I felt like I could help women by making a salient point and by substantiating it with good examples and not getting up there and talking about all my sexual escapades. And so I chose to say something empowering. I chose to use the platform to help motivate, or not even motivate, but just help make women feel okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's so much different. Because it's a relatively new thing that women are supposed to be dirty in comedy. Because before the women being dirty in comedy, there was the completely absurd, stupid, even conversation about whether or not women are funny, which is just
which is antiquated, but still goes on.
Yes.
But even like
it's disgusting. It's an antiquated, disgusting conversation.
Which has actually even begun to dissipate a little bit in the last several years. I don't get that question. When I first started, it was like, what do you say to people say women aren't funny? I'm like, I say that you need to read more books. I don't know, you don't sound very smart. I just don't think it's a...
That was like the go-to question 5 years ago for people who didn't really like comedy but had to interview women in comedy.
You're talking about morning DJs.
What do you have to say about the state of women in comedy?
And now the question has evolved to, what's it like being a woman in comedy? And I'm like, don't know, haven't been a man in comedy, couldn't give you a balanced answer. Doing the best I can. I'm trying to look okay. But Confirmed Kills, the title, it's twofold. It's yes, it's a very aggressive special, and it's very in your face. And so Confirmed Kills is a reference to one of the jokes. It's sort of in the middle of it about the way that we treat elderly people in our society. And you can watch I'm not going to do the joke. That's the worst. Because sometimes when I do my own material, it's just like never as funny outside of you guys aren't drunk. And it's not dark here.
Bit. Eliza,
do the bit. Do your bit. Do your skit. So it's a reference. I always like to reference a point of a joke. So there's that. But then it's also, when you kill on stage, and I think I look at this as my opus. Like, this was my baby, and I came for blood, like fun blood, like funny blood. Like, this is fun that you guys are laughing, and like you want to kill your audience, but also love them.
Would you say that this is the most important special you've done?
Of the three. This is the most important one, and I wanted to raise the bar, for what's expected of women, but for myself. I wanted to say something important, so this is definitely the best one that I've done, and I'm nervous about how I'm going to top it.
It's so good, and I think it's one of the things that's really great and disarming about it is that it starts from like a very relatable place of like kind of the differences between men and women and sort of observations about that, and very, very quickly after sort of showing those observations, talks about why those observations are there and why those differences are there and why we perceive them, which is a much more substantial conversation, not just comedically, but about gender.
Yeah, well, that's the trick, isn't it, Ricky? That's what you do. You hold out your hand like you would a dog, and you say, come here, I'm not going to hurt you. Come sniff, lots of fun. And then you grab them. And that's kind of how comedy works. You have to ingratiate yourself. You can't just come out guns blazing and be like, I'm the best, listen up. You have to sort of, reveal a little bit about what makes, there's a lot of stuff in there about being drunk. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff at the top. And the feminist stuff is, this bracelet's driving me bananas. There we go.
It's cool.
I was trying to be cool about it. This is like the one piece of jewelry I wear for public appearances. And it's like, if any picture of me in the last 6 months, I'm wearing this bracelet and like this ring.
Is it a sentimental bracelet, or is it something that someone told you, like, you should wear jewelry?
It was me running into Nordstrom before an event. I was like, I need something nice that's not going to fall apart in the dishwasher. And so I just got it. I don't even know who makes it. It's not like, whatever. It's nicer than some, but not as nice.
Nordstrom are like, oh, one of you. Great. Thanks.
I was like, just take it. I just went through and I was like, is it gold? Does it look gold? We'll do it. Is it going to make me green? Okay. I'll do it. I don't remember. Oh, yeah. But yeah, you want to... I think also if you're going to tackle the subject of feminism in a comedy special, outside of a TED Talk, it has to be funny first and foremost, and you cannot afford to lose your male audience. And so this isn't, if you're stupid, you're going to look at this and be like, seems like you don't like guys, but you're an idiot. Love dudes, especially hot ones. And this special, I think men enjoy it. I mean, you liked it, and smart men find it relatable because I'm bringing up points about women. I'm not hitting anyone over the head with it. I'm just saying, here's why it's hard for women, but I'm making it funny. I just wanted everybody to be included. Just like if a guy gets up here and he just talks about how much he hates his wife and he loves jerking off, you're going to lose the women because we're like, that's gross and you're not likable. And so you also, by the same token, as a woman, can't get up there and just be like, I love to fuck and I'm dirty and I hate men. I don't know how you would love to fucking hate men. I mean, you could fuck women, whatever. This is turning into something weird. But, you can't afford to alienate half your audience, as I just did when I alienated the whole audience, when I just went down like a weird rabbit hole.
I don't know. I kind of want to see that special, personally.
I would love to do like an uncensored, like just saying like the dirtiest things, like things that I don't say, like just seeing what I could get away with. I feel like it would be off-brand and uncomfortable for me. I was like, you guys want to hear a jizz joke? Let's do it. Oh, I just said that. You see, even they didn't even laugh at that.
Yeah,
I had a joke about that. They were like, we expect better. And I appreciate that from you, 12 people.
There was there's an observation that I really love that makes me so sad, which is that women like to change and change themselves a lot, and they're expected to change, and that men are in many ways not necessarily expected to stay the same, but it's okay for them to stay the same, and that's why they kind of, your dad or your grandfather are kind of like, this is what I do, I watch TV, leave me alone.
Right.
And moms are always trying to make things better.
Yeah.
And it's such I don't have a question about it, it's just a sad thing about our culture that you observed very, very well.
Thank you. I think, women are taught to evolve and look inside ourselves. Like, he broke up with me, well, I'm reading a book about that, I'm learning, I'm meditating. Or, like, he was a psychopath, move on, you're fine. So it's important to grow, and it isn't as if men don't grow and men don't meditate and look inside themselves, but I think for women, it's more encouraged that we do some spiritual seeking. And guys are like, this is just how it is. Do you want to make a baby or not? Come and get it. And it's just this idea, and I have in a book that I'm writing, the idea that women are expected to be so many people so many things to so many people. And that requires constantly changing and evolving. So they say the expression like, what is it, lady in the streets, freak in the sheets. I would never say that. Or,
What's that expression?
What?
What is that expression? Lady in the streets, freak in the sheets? I've never heard that. Is it? Oh, okay, sorry.
So, but it's the idea that, like, no one would say, like, no one says, like, I want a cowboy on the road, but a financier in the boardroom. Like, we don't place those things around men. But as a woman, you're expected to be a lady when people are looking, and then be like a sex goddess, but then also cook. Like, you're just supposed to be so many things. And I think women are now seeing more and more, like, just be. I stood up there in a leotard I found in Nordstrom the morning of the taping with, like, fake hair stapled into my head. And I was like, be yourself. And I think it worked. So I think the less women question themselves on a day-to-day basis, and that goes into the whole makeup thing, I think the happier we'd be if we just took a breath. We're like, I'm enough. I just need a lot of fake hair, but I'm enough.
And now, absolutely, we
Thank
can clap
you,
for that,
one
guys.
person.
Whoever just
Clap it.
clapped. I'm now starting to count the men in this audience because there wasn't enough clapping right away.
This guy was clapping. I saw.
What?
There's one.
What did you think? I mean, we're having this conversation right now. You're releasing this special right now. And then last night there was the presidential debate
The what?
with Donald Trump and the first female nominee of a major party. And there were conversations about what are expected of women and the double standard of what took place last night.
Right.
Do you feel like it's a particularly amazing time for you to be having this conversation while that's going on?
I certainly didn't wake up. I was like, wow, what an amazing time for me. I feel amazing. It's all, I'm tuned into it because of the nature of the special. I think Hillary Clinton, whether you're voting for her or not, she's done a great job of being like, here's my dick. I'm ready to fucking go. Sorry. She has. And, at first it was like, oh, she's a woman, she can't do it. And I didn't get the feeling last night that anybody was thinking that as much as Donald Trump tried to, is it too much? I'm sorry. That as much as Donald Trump tried to undercut her, and then there was like an issue about the amount that she was smiling. Homegirl was smiling because if she didn't smile, like she was gonna like go postal. Like, that she was sitting there like pulling out her own fingernails, just trying not to flip out at him. So her smile to me was the kind of smile where it's like, oh, really? That's funny. And she held it together quite well. So yeah, it's there's just so much expected from women that aren't expected from men. But to be fair, men are not allowed to be vulnerable in our society, and that's unfair too. But I'm not here to argue the virtues of both sides of that. I'm just here to stand up for my special and get you to watch it on Netflix.
Oh, poor men, we're not allowed to cry. Right?
Well, it is a tough thing. Men are expected to be manly, and if you do cry, women are like, ew. That was the best way I could put it. That was the best way I could articulate it.
Are you like ew if a man cries around you?
No, it depends. Like, how much crying?
Oh, yeah, of course.
How often is this crying? I think, we like, a guy that's going to take, you don't want a guy that, like, someone mugs you on the street and he's like, please just take her. But, being open or vulnerable, it's nice to not have to, like, mine for emotion with a man, but...
Have you ever had an instance where a man cried in front of you for a reason that you found maybe inappropriate or pretty unattractive?
Well, yeah. Yeah. I think, I could answer that with inappropriate or unattractive. No, I've never dated someone or anything like that. I can answer that by saying I've definitely cried. But I also feel like I'm a woman. I can do whatever I want. I have been like, I'm going to cry in public. I don't care if you leave. Like, this is an emotion I'm going to have. And if he's a good man, he'll stick with you while you're crying or at least block you, to make sure nobody sees you. I'm dating someone and he cried recently because he was so drunk. And we were in bed and he was, he's going to kill me. Maybe I should stop telling this story. I had come from an event, and he had come from like a dinner. So he'd had some drinks, I hadn't had any drinks. Had I had drinks and been on the same level, it wouldn't have been this intense. And he loves to be naked. I like to wear clothes in bed because ew. And he was either naked, he's drunk, and this is one of those things where it could have gone so poorly, so quickly because I'm so judgmental. But lucky for him, the chemicals lined up and I was attracted to it. And he was laying there, he was naked, he's like, I just love you so much. And I have nothing to say, and I'm here and I love you. And then he took out the saddest glass of water and he just drank it while he was naked, just in my bed. And it was It was so vulnerable. And like
Beautiful.
It didn't occur to him like, oh, she's not going to find this attractive. He's like, I'm just being me. And then a couple days later, I was like, you've cried a couple times when we've been together, not like sexually, just like out. And he said, and most guys would be like, no way, I didn't cry. And he just went, I'm an emotional person. Like he just like owned it. And I was like, I love that.
You reached the point in your relationship where he just, yep, I cry.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny that.
And we've only been dating like a week.
Some massive news for you came out this week. You have been brought onto the Freeform channel to develop a late night comedy show. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is a long time dream for you. You talked about it last time you were here, that it's something that you've always wanted to do.
Yeah, it's when I was little, I would like interview my parents with my tape recorder. I'm sure they love that. It's like I've said all I have to say. I would imitate like my classmates, and when you're a comedian, you know, your classroom is your showroom, and much to the chagrin of your teachers. And then I've developed a couple pilots. You know, you're not supposed to admit that. You're supposed to make it look like this stuff happens overnight, but it doesn't. Yeah. I know. Anybody that you think is famous, you're like, where'd that come from? It came from like clawing your way to the top or the middle. So for this, it was a lot of attempts at it, and then we got into business with Freeform, and they took it very seriously. They had to have a late night show. We did a wonderful interview with Variety. So there were a lot of fighting words coming from the network versus like, we're doing a show, thanks, no comment. Like they really put some words behind it. So I don't know. I figure I love The Tonight Show, and like I love Jimmy Fallon. I'm such a fan. I think Jimmy Kimmel's funny, but we have two white men with brown hair named Jimmy in late night. Is there really no room for a woman and another woman? So I'm excited to leave my mark.
White men named Jimmy or James, right? James
and there's
Corden,
a James.
Jimmy.
It could be a Jimmy, yeah.
And then Seth and Steven.
Yeah, 2 S's. What are we doing? But I'm excited to try to make a show that's not just funny and it's not just talking to women. I'm just going to be a funny person delivering my take. Because if you're like, it's girl talk for guys, like that's. What is that? May as well take your shirt off.
I want to watch that.
You want to watch Girl Talk for Guys? You can watch
Talk for Guys.
Yo, I've got 2 other Netflix specials that are perfect for you. Girl Talk for Guys.
What do you when you're doing a late night show? When you look at the outside of just your take, you know, what do you think that you're going to be bringing to the sort of late night?
So hot. It's so hot up here. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Sorry. What do you think you're going to be bringing to the sort of late night atmosphere that they're not bringing outside of just yourself? Like, what would you like to see?
Yeah, I don't even know, because to say that they're not bringing it is to suggest that I watch them. No, I'm just kidding. Is to criticize and say, oh, you're doing something wrong. It's not even about that. It's about just my comedic take. So I think, you know, I've been doing stand-up for 11 years. Not professionally for 11, but 11 years, commanding audience's attention. So it's just about putting stock in yourself and saying, I'm smart enough and I've got enough societal data collected that I can make a point and stand behind it. I think it's very easy to get on TV and make fun of Donald Trump, right? I personally, I'm like over the Donald Trump jokes. Like I'll chip in once in a while, but like it'd be great if we said something else once in a while, and we will, because he'll lose and then that'll be that. But, you know, I feel like women are afraid to use their voice and also be considered attractive or be considered accessible. And I think that this generation deserves someone standing up and being like, I'm confident. If it's going to be held against me that I'm attractive in stand-up, then I'm going to use it to my advantage, at least at some point in my life. And I know nobody like feels bad for like a girl
held against you that you're attractive?
Yeah, any girl that does stand-up, you know, you always get asked, we're attractive. Is that hard? With guys because they have mega boners, can they see past them while you're talking? The weird thing about being not hideous, I'll put it that way because I'm not like making any modeling calls, is my face is not symmetrical enough, is I was never like a hot girl. I was never called that my whole life. And then I started doing stand-up and I got labeled that, but only with the negative things that come with it. And I got judged as if I was the cheerleader that snubbed you in high school, or like the bitchy girl that was like a mean girl. And I never was any of that. But because I'm doing stand-up and I'm not up there with like a hump and a wart on my forehead, people are like, oh, she must be trouble. So,
or you get the kind of like you get a taste of success and everybody's going, well, it's because she's a hot blonde girl.
And that happens. And what I can't, I refuse to apologize for, and no one should. No matter what you look like, skin color, hair texture, anything, you should never apologize to anyone And that sounds like such a white privilege thing. I'm like, just stand up and just like be proud of it. But this goes beyond like a race thing. This is about, like as a girl, just saying like, I'm just gonna keep going and I hope you can get past the fact that I don't have like horse teeth and you can just enjoy my message.
Absolutely.
What a horrible ending. I knew it would happen. I knew I would say something weird.
Let's open it up to the audience for questions.
Yes, please.
How's it going, Iliza?
Hi.
Good.
Good, it's good. How are you?
Was there like a specific moment where you thought, okay, I want to do comedy?
No. Next question. No. A lot of comics have that where they're like, I watched Richard Pryor and I knew. Sometimes I was always been funny, and growing up in Dallas, Texas, Jewish with divorced parents, I think a lot of other little girls didn't know what to do with me because I didn't look like them or talk like them. So I'd always just try to make the class laugh, and that was my motivation, much to the dismay of my GPA. Yes.
Next question.
Hey, I love this special and I love all the hot mess stuff, but I feel like I also learned a lot about evolution, like when you're talking about like mom's instincts and like men going out for food and stuff. Where do you come up with like that stuff?
That particular bit came from a discussion I had actually with Joe Rogan a while ago, I think on his podcast. For me, it just kind of like, it just pops into my head and then I can just sort of substantiate my claim with evidence. I mean, it's almost like making your case as a lawyer. So a lot of the stuff like high heels, making it hard for women to run away. Obviously, it's a joke, but if you really analyze a lot of things that we do, yes, it's to get attention, but it also comes down to like men like vulnerability. And once I had that in my head, I was able to build examples around it. So I really miss my calling as a trial lawyer. But if I do say so myself.
Next question.
Hi, nice to meet
Hi,
you.
nice to meet you.
Pretty much my question is going to be, what advice do you have for girls, I guess, who aren't as confident as you?
I don't know. She's saying wrap it up on like the most important. Her brain is in my hand. What you need to know is this.
No, it was wrap it up to me. Take your time. Take your time.
Let's take it back to 1453. No. Confidence comes from within, and it comes from this intrinsic thought that you need to, the intrinsic idea that you have something that no one can take away. Women are always pit against each other in our society because we're afraid someone's younger or prettier, and it usually has to do with men. But if you know you're smart, or if you know you're a good athlete, or if you know you're pretty, or if you know you have something that no one can take away, then you can never be devalued. And also you should know that no one's thinking about you, they're only thinking about themselves. So the amount of time we spend, like whatever, nobody cares. Just show up and smile. No, actually don't smile. You don't smile if a guy tells you to. Just show up and be a human, and most people will respond to that. You'll get your confidence.
As a stand-up and someone who performs for a living, how hard was it for you to realize that no one's thinking about you?
Oh, they're thinking about me on stage. I thought you meant like out in the world.
Even after out in the world, after auditioning or going to meetings and trying to set up a show, I mean, it must linger in your head that like, what did they think of me and how are they talking about me when I'm not there?
Well, show business is its own animal. Like for that, like they're either thinking about you or they're not. And when they're not thinking about you, all you're thinking about is how can I get them to think about me? So that's a different thing. But even on stage, I have to think about what I'm going to wear. Because as a woman, no matter what your body looks like, people are looking at it and judging it. I choose to wear T-shirts on stage because I wear T-shirts in real life. I believe your stand-up should be an extension of that. But I don't want to give people an extra reason to write me off or not pay attention. So I choose to cover up part of my body because I don't believe that the audience can handle all of this. No, can handle that. It's just a decision, and it's an educated one, I believe. But yeah, it's just how I feel.
Iliza, the special's on Netflix right now. The Freeform show, you're working on it right now, so we don't know when we're going to see that, right?
We're working on it right now, actively working toward it. It's happening soon.
Congratulations on the special. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you.
Thank you.